Very good morning, children. Welcome to the online education of NRS Class 7 Science. Dear students, in the previous class, I was explaining about the exercise part of the lesson, weather, climate, and adaptation of different kinds of animals to variety kinds of habitats and regions. So, in the previous class, I explained about the fill in the blanks and match the following and the first part of the exercise part. So, now let's go ahead with the exercise part, that is answer the following questions. So let me start with the question number 7. So first question is, the tropical rainforest has a large population of animals. Explain why it is so. So dear students, as I explained you when I am teaching the class, explaining about the tropical rainforests. So tropical rainforests are such a regions where there is average temperature recorded. So during the normal winter season, the temperature will be 15 degrees Celsius, not less than that. And during the other seasons, the temperature will be average. Okay. And at the same time, this region receives the same, and an average warmth, that we call it as temperature. At the same time, it receives heavy rainfall throughout the year. So since there is equal amount of temperature as well as rain, that this region is particularly very much suitable for the plants and the variety of animals to survive over here. So throughout this year in this region, the amount of day and night is same. It's not the same, different for like polar regions. So hence the tropical rainforest is generally very hot and humid, means it receives rainfall with continuous rainfall. Okay, so that's why these hospitable conditions, climatic conditions, are very much suitable, and they support the huge number of animals and plants to survive in this region. Okay, so that's why more number of plants and animals live in the tropical regions than the polar regions. Okay, is it understood? Yes. Now let's go for question number 8. Explain with examples why we find animals of certain kind living in particular climatic conditions. Okay, so this is a normal, no, very important, interesting question here. So you have to explain here with some examples that why we will find the animals of particular type or particular kind living in particular climatic conditions. Only if in particular climatic conditions, particular kinds of animals are found. So why it is so? You have to explain here. So you dear students, so certain kinds of animals and plants can be found only in particular kind of climatic conditions, as they can adapt well to those conditions. We can find only the animals of no kinds of animals only in particular climatic conditions, because they can adapt, they can match to that particular area to those conditions. Okay, so hence, for example, polar bear. So already in the previous class when I am explaining about the polar regions, I told you. So polar bear is is an animal which lives in the polar regions, which has a thick fur on its skin, and also it has a deposition of fat under the skin. Okay, and its body is very much well insulated in order to protect itself from the cold. So that's why it has a very thick skin and a layer of fat to keep it warm, so in cold conditions. So it is adapted to the polar regions. How? It has a very thick skin. Okay, on the outer layer it has a very thick skin, and there is a deposition of fat under its skin to in order to keep itself warm from the cold conditions in the polar regions. So however, with the same adaptations or conditions, it will not be easily possible for the polar bear to live in the tropical rainforest or tropical regions where it is hot. Okay, so it has adapted to the only polar regions, hence it can survive well in the polar regions, whereas it with the same adaptation it will not be possible for the polar bear to survive in the tropical regions where it is hot. Okay, so that's why it is the reason. Okay, so now one more example you can take. Similarly, a monkey is adapted to live in the tropical regions. Why? Because it has some kinds of adaptation to live in the tropical regions, because it has a, see, what are the kinds of adaptation it has? It has a long and sturdy tail. Okay, and its feet are like they can easily catch up the branches of the trees. Okay, it has a loud voice. So these are the kinds of adaptation they have for tropical regions. So hence these features are of more importance. Okay, these features, by using that, it cannot survive well in the polar regions. Okay, it does not suit for the polar regions, because there is where there is less number of trees are there, where vegetation is so less. So the monkey cannot live in the polar regions, because the number of trees or vegetation in the polar regions is highly less. Hence, with this adaptation, the monkey cannot live in the polar regions. Hence, therefore, so certain types of animals can live only in certain climatic conditions. So last question number 9 now. So what is that? Let's see. How do elephant living in the tropical rainforest adapt itself? So how the elephant living in the tropical rainforest adapt itself? How it has adapted to the tropical rainforest? So simple it is. So an important animal which is living in the tropical regions or tropical rainforest is the elephant. So it has adapted remarkably in the tropical regions. So some of the important features of its adaptation is given here. So it has a trunk. Okay, it uses its trunk as its nose. So in order to smell a strong smell, so it has a strong sense of smell. By using the trunk, it uses it as a nose, and it gives a strong sense of smell to it. Okay, so in its trunk also helpful, it is also useful for picking up the food, whatever the food is there no, in the surroundings, to pick up that food and keep put it into its mouth. So it is used, which is that trunk. And one more thing is that its trunks are also used to tear the bark of the trees. See, in order to be, you have to tear that elephant has to tear the bark of the tree. So for that, the trunk is also used to tear the bark of the trees, and so that it can eat the bark of the trees. And next one, the soles of the feet are covered with the thick pads. Okay, so its sole is there, no, and below that, below its feet, a sole is there. So sole of the this feet, it is covered with the thick pads. The pads are very thick, so that these pads can handle their enormous weight. You might be knowing the weight of the elephant. So those pads can handle their enormous weight, because that much thick they are. And they also prevent sound, so that the elephant can move easily. So sound can be prevented by its thick pads. And next one is, its large ears have a strong sense of hearing. So you all have seen, so in the in movies or naturally you might have seen, look at its ears, they are so long ears, they are very much useful for sense of hearing. Even a minute sound they can hear from a long distance. Next one, question number 10 is there. Choose the correct option which answers the following questions. Okay, so what is that question? Let's read it. A carnivorous with strips on its body moves very fast while catching its prey. It is likely to be found in the dash. A carnivorous animal with the strips on its body, and it is runs very fast to catch its prey. So where it is found? It is found in tropical regions. For example, tiger, lion, etc. And which features adapt to polar bears to live in an extremely cold climate? So which feature the polar bears adapt to live in the extremely cold climate? So what kind of features it has? One is, the first one, white fur, fat deposition under its skin, and a keen sense of smell. Okay, that is the adaptation features it has to live in the polar regions. Not the thick skin, large hair, white fur, no. Long and strong claws, no, not like that. Okay, the first option is correct. And last one, which option best describes the tropical regions? So tropical regions, it is hot as well as wet. It means rains also received, and also more temperature received. So hence it is called as hot and wet, or hot and humid. So dear students, by this we have completed the exercise part of the lesson, weather, climate and adaptation. So in the next class we'll go ahead with the new lesson. Thank you and have a nice day.